I genuinely thought love was unconditional. I thought that when you loved someone, you loved them because they exist, not because of what they do for you, not because of what role they play, not because of how convenient they are, just because they're them. And no two people are the same. Everyone is unique. And nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, is replaceable. In fact, that's a huge red flag. I had an ex tell me that one time, that everybody is replaceable. This was in the beginning of us dating. Yeah. I really should have run for the hills after that statement. So if anybody ever tells you that, heads up, go ahead and cut your losses. But anyway, just, you love because they're them, right? But apparently that is not how everyone operates. I thought when someone said, I love you, it meant I love you because you exist, not because you perform or comply or because you're useful, but just because you are you. It took my entire life to understand completely that not everyone's definition of love was equivalent to mine. For me, love was contingent upon me playing whatever part I was unaware I was cast in. As long as I was available, as long as I was accommodating, as long as I didn't disrupt expectations, as long as I didn't have inconvenient boundaries. The moment I stopped overfunctioning, the moment I began individuating, the moment I withdrew unconscious compliance, the support shifted like a slow fizzling out. And that's when it really, really hit me. Some of what I thought was unconditional love was actually conditional access. Access to my time, access to my emotional labor, access to my regulation, access to my agreement. And when access changed, so did the apparent facade of love. Which is obviously not unconditional love, that's role-based attachment. I even had an ex explicitly call it transactional love, and we were still together in that moment. This is not the same ex that I was speaking about previously either, just to point that out. But it's like, I'll do this for you, but then you do this for me. So it's like framed as fairness, I guess, in a way. It's framed as its reciprocity, but reciprocity and transaction are not the same thing. Reciprocity flows naturally. Transaction keeps score. Reciprocity says, I care about you. Transaction says, now you owe me. And unconditional love does not mean unconditional tolerance. It does not mean unconditional access, and it does not mean self-abandonment. You can love someone and still say no. You can love someone and still leave. You can love someone and still refuse coercion disguised as care. What destabilized me wasn't losing conditional relationships. It was realizing how normalized conditional love actually is, and how much I was surrounded by love that had invisible strings attached, especially inside family systems. We're taught that parental love is automatically unconditional, that family love is inherent and unshakable. Blood is thicker than water, right? I mean, that's how I truly felt about it anyway. But in many systems, love is quietly contingent on compliance, on maintaining roles, on preserving hierarchy, on not threatening the structure. And when individuation begins, the system reads it as betrayal. Not because you stopped loving anyone, but because you stopped performing. And that distinction is important. Because when you're reclaiming inner authority, you will feel the difference. You will feel who loves you for your essence and who loved your participation in a pattern. And to be clear, there is nothing wrong with loving unconditionally. In fact, that's the only way that I know how to do it. The issue is not loving deeply. The issue is confusing love with access, or mistaking conditional approval for safety or full reciprocity. If you are someone who loves without keeping score, that's not naivete. That is capacity. But capacity requires discernment. Love can be unconditional. Access should be earned. Support should not require self-erasure, and safety should not require obedience. If this resonates, you already know. And I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just offering an understanding of a pattern that used to torment my soul and kept me in a fog of confusion. So maybe someone else doesn't get lost in the haze as long as I did.